Hi Kiwi, and welcome back to a new episode of Neva. Just full disclosure, I am recording this from a hotel. We are away from home, and I am alone and not with much to do, so I figured I'd do some recording. Hopefully the audio, from what I've done testing-wise, the audio quality isn't too terrible, but if there's a little bit of dip in quality, my apologies for that. I think, based on the preliminary testing I was doing elsewhere, or I was basically practicing Pantheon 3 with Hollow Knight, and I think things are running fine, so we're just gonna keep going with it and see how it goes. As far as what we're going to talk today, I guess there's a little bit more news about the Switch 2. Not necessarily positive news, but I definitely want to talk about that. We can also talk about some other... Oh, I can dismount now, can I? Well, that's cool. So we can either run together or I can run alongside. Awesome. All right. So the question is, can I jump? I can. Ooh, so we basically have a quadruple jump because Neva has a double jump. Then I can jump off of Neva and jump again. That's probably going to be something we'll be playing around with later, and I look forward to messing around with that feature. Yeah, it looks like we can get up here by doing so. And Neva can jump herself pretty much anywhere. She has main character syndrome, or I guess she has the powers of a main character. But we can summon her basically anywhere. I like how our abilities are evolving as the game goes on. Anyway, we are in the winter months now, so in the game specifically. Press X or B to attack and dodge with Neva. It looks like our dodge and our attack are basically the same, but if we hit something, we do dismount from the rest of it. Ooh, our downward strike is now like Mamva's attack from that boss fight. That's really cool. All right, and then I can still launch her at enemies, I think, perhaps? And if I do, she's busy disabling them. All right, awesome. I really like how okay, I really like the aesthetic of the wolf being part of our attack slashes now. That's actually really cool. Anyway, so let's talk about the Switch 2 news that has come about since we last chatted about it. And now, full disclosure, it has been probably a week or two since I recorded episode, I think 4? And assuming this is episode 5, which I'm pretty sure it is, so, I pretty much recorded those episodes the day of, if not the day after the Switch 2 Direct, so it was before I found out about the whole, like, all the things that are kind of being a little bit disappointing to the overall reveal. Namely, the price of the Switch 2 specifically. Can Neva just not land on these platforms? It seems to be the case, so she can chase after us, I think. So I can't call her to us when we are platforming, so how do we get up there without her? Huh. Oh, that's a cute little call. All right, so now can I still can't seem to use her on these platforms. The real question is, how do I get there? I can't jump. You over here somehow? Oh, you know what? I bet this is it. We'll do the quadruple jump that I discovered earlier. There we go. Now I can get up here and hopefully, yeah, I should be able to make it by dashing across this way. That's cool. They kind of made it you have to... you think you could go from the right, but I don't think you actually can reach it from the right here. The right side is mostly just to progress this path forward. But cool, we were able to get the collectible. Anyway, so the big unfortunate Switch news is that the Switch is going to cost $450, which is expensive. It's certainly not the worst I've seen, and certainly it's still cheapest among all of the current generation consoles. That doesn't mean any of them are, strictly speaking, affordable, at least by my paycheck. Oh, look. Oh, ooh, we've got a blockhead here. Interesting. Guess you can't really do much to defend yourself from behind, and then the block disappears. Okay. Weird, but I appreciate it. Anyway, so yeah, so the console itself, I feel like, is an acceptable price for what I expected. I expected somewhere between $400 and $450, given current prices of things. It felt fairly standard for where the market is, unfortunately. Oh no. That cannot be good for your neck to have a head that heavy. I really like this wolf as part of our attacks aesthetic. It's really cool. Anyway, so the bigger issue is the games. Games are already getting immensely expensive. Even, thankfully, I'm not a big, like, Xbox or PlayStation player sort of fellow, so I didn't have to deal with the games that are reaching $70 regularly. Tears of the Kingdom was probably the only game that cost $70, and I didn't even purchase that. I got it as a gift. So, like, certainly speaking out loud, I am not eager to have to spend that much money on first-party Nintendo games, and who knows how many other games. hopefully, I mean, as it is, I've kind of really switched to indie developers. A lot of my favorite games of the last year and a half have been from indie developers, between Cassette Beasts and Hollow Knight. Oh, here's our evil queen. I wonder if she is supposed to represent us, given the nature of the sword that she's wielding. But yeah, I mean, Cassette Beasts, what is it? A Space for the Unbound. Of course, Grease. Grease was an indie game that I found out through found on the Switch. So I don't know. For me, it looks like the indie scene is going to be where a lot of my time video games wise is spent. And even then, there are some other like iffy situations. I mean, so the Switch 2 game price, as announced, is a whole whopping $80, and for some games it's actually technically more, particularly if you're looking at Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Unfortunately. Hello, bird. You seem like you may have been something that I was supposed to find. Is there any merit to going this far back to the left? Oh, hello. Can I respond? I don't think I can. Maybe I'm supposed to go this way. I'm just so hard-coded to traveling to the right for progression in most instances that I don't think, I feel like going to the right is the expected path. Though it looks like we did find another secret here. I think the trick is probably dash and then jump. Yep, there we go. Anyway, so yeah, certainly the Switch 2 game prices are rough. I don't think I can regularly buy $80 games. I could barely do that with $60 games, frankly, but games like Breath of the Wild can get upgraded if you already own them for like somewhere in the realm of $10 to $20, I think. I think it's $10. Unfortunately, if you are buying Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild from scratch and also buying its DLC on a Switch 2 optimized hardware, or like a Switch 2 optimized port, it's gonna cost $90 for the DLC, the upgrade to be Switch 2 quality, and the base game, and that's kind of disgusting. I don't think we're at the point where any game, except for like something that's selling really crazy cool collector edition type things, should ever cost that much, frankly. And yet here we are in the day and age of the $90 Nintendo games of all things. Like I could certainly see Sony or Xbox doing that way before, or I would expect Sony or Xbox to do that way before Nintendo ever had the gall to do it. And it's certainly, there is a concern for kind of like, is Nintendo being greedy? And I think there's inevitably some amount of that. Like there's only so much we can blame on the current market value and the tariffs and things causing chaos with prices of technology. And it's definitely lends itself to this unfortunate vibe of things are only going to get expensive, because if this is what Nintendo is going to be, I am afraid of what those other first-party developers are going to start charging for their games. Because it's not just that Nintendo is kind of the canary in the coal mine sort of vibe, it's that Nintendo is setting a precedent for other game companies that have already gotten used to charging excessive amounts of money for their games before it was strictly appropriate. I mean, some of those costs are understandable. The cartridge, because Nintendo has locked themselves into these nifty little cartridges to make themselves, again, be the weird uncle that Nintendo loves to be. Unfortunately, those game cartridges that the games are on do cost a fair bit to produce, and I think that's where some of this price increase is coming from too. Tariffs are, of course, a factor. But it's just, I don't know. It's a mixture of a number of factors that all just feel kind of, no matter how you look at it, very icky overall to have to contend with as a consumer. And that's kind of just the nature of the world right now. Everything is there is nothing left to be consumer friendly at this point. I don't know whether I should go right or left again. I'm gonna go right this time and see what's over this way, and inevitably I will pick the wrong direction. But I can at least try. I feel like this is bad for Neva's head to just be bonking her in. Oh, okay, you respawn. Well, in theory, I can probably jump up there. No. How do I get up here without Neva? Huh. Like, I cannot ride Neva down here, so I don't have a good way of getting up there in a timely fashion. Unless... Oh, this gives me a little bit of lift. Hold on. I wonder if there's like a minor optimization I can do here. All right, Neva, do the thing. Now, I could possibly make this with the right angle, but I feel like I don't feel as though it is intended. I don't know. Speedrunners have likely cleared that jump using all their optimized tools, but I'm gonna go the unbeaten, or the clearly intended path, I think. And inevitably, maybe we get a power that lets us go back that way later. We cannot ride Neva at this point, though. Anyway, the point is, it sucks to be a consumer right now, unless you are very well off in terms of pay and lifestyle, and regrettably, Kiwi, we are not. So, yes, as much as I would love to get a Switch 2 on release, I also am okay with not, because, I mean, this is how I am with every major release, whether it be a game or a console as a whole, especially as a console as a whole. I'm usually not the first to purchase something. I feel like I'm... Aha, there's a secret here. What are you? Another bird? Yeah, another bird. All right, looks like we have birds to unlock as well as collectible flowers now. That's cool. Anyway, so that's where I am on the Switch 2. The price is disheartening to say the least. And then, I mean, there are other things that are, I don't know if I'd call them disheartening, but definitely just kind of weird. They're making a very cute peripheral camera for the built-in like audio video recording that they have for the chat button function. It's a third-party product, and it's shaped like a piranha plant, and it looks actually kind of cute, or very cute. It only records in 480p, so the resolution of those videos are going to be terrible though, and that feels not bad necessarily, just kind of weird. I don't even know what the base quality for the camera that the base Switch 2 will come with, but I imagine it looked relatively reasonable quality in the demo videos. The frame rate was terrible. Oh my goodness, the frame rate in the demo for the chat function on those videos looked genuinely abysmal, honestly. Oh, giant block enemy. Oh, you know what? I guess they're teaching us that we can destroy the blocks of these enemies. Now the question is, do they take... Oh, hold on. Will they take damage when those blocks are destroyed, or is it just disabling their attack form? It looks like it actually transforms them back into their base form, perhaps? Oh my goodness. Wow. Hey, they come at you quickly. I'm taking a lot of damage here. Need to be able to regenerate HP if I can here. Thankfully, there's no major cooldown on the massive iframe dash that we have. It feels like our attacks are killing these things faster too, which is nice. Oh, hey, Neva. Still don't know what these lotus flowers are supposed to represent. I'm very curious to see if they kind of come back to represent something down the road. At the very least, they certainly serve as checkpoint markers, but I feel like there's a thematic purpose or a narrative purpose rather than just a gameplay purpose. One thing that I'm realizing now is I don't have a good way of telling when the half hour is up in these recordings, so I like to try and maintain a half-hour duration on videos that aren't 80s. It feels like a natural duration for these sorts of things, and unfortunately, with my current recording setup, I have to go full screen for a game, which means I can't see the timer on... I'm not doing dual screen where I can have the recording software showing me what I'm usually using to monitor for time frame. Oh well, I'm sure I have... Kiwi, you are well aware, I have somewhat of a weird sense of time, so my mental estimate is about 12 to 15 minutes. How did I get this the first time and can't get it now? Oh, can't reach up here. I clearly need to destroy these at roughly the same time so that I can jump through, go. But the timing is off. There we go. Okay. That was the timing on that is kind of tight, actually. But we made it work. Just took a little practice. I do have an issue with aiming this projectile Neva attack. It's relatively consistent, but every now and again I just aim improperly, and it's a little frustrating. But it's my fault. It's definitely my fault for mispositioning the control stick. I've always had an issue. I've noticed it since like the days of Smash, that sometimes I accidentally do like an up B instead of a side B or that sort of thing. But we make it work. We make it work here in Studio Jeff. That's definitely what this place is called, right? Oh no. That was absolutely avoidable. I would love a character in Smash who plays like this, though. One that you can kind of like send out a minion to disable your opponent. It would be super unbalanced. As it is, Rosalina and Luma kind of do something of that nature, and it is they can be a bit daunting to fight, particularly in Smash 4. I think they were super strong. They fell off in Smash Ultimate a bit. I wonder if these guys are going to infinitely be spawning, or if I'm just supposed to use them to platform. I get the sense I'm supposed to use them for platforming. How, though? Oh, you know what? I see. I have to be on this side, and then I have a little bit of a ledge that I can jump on them with. Let's roll over here, and then before it becomes a threat, there we go. Easy peasy. And now, in theory, what I can do is break that with Neva, and I should be able to cross to the right using the platform once it respawns. There we go. I see your puzzles, and I solve them. Because I'm a cool dude. Right, Kiwi? I am the coolest. Anywho, I don't know. It leaves a bitter taste in the mouth, and it certainly makes me question whether I will... I mean, if I'm waiting to do Breath of the Wild on this channel till I can play the HD version on the Switch too, it's really a question of, do I want to wait that long, and do I want to pay that much for that game? And especially because I technically own 2 copies of Breath of the Wild as it is. I have a copy of Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, which is where I played it originally, and then parents got me a copy for the Switch when my Wii U had officially died a warrior's death, if you will. And oh hey, we're back where we started. Interesting. So I guess down here was just an area to get some collectibles. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Back up we go. I figured we'd be going back up here since they gave us a clear way out with all these little white flowers on the walls. But yeah, so I have it on the Wii U, and then I got it again on the Switch. I haven't even touched the Switch version, but if I were to record, I would definitely play it on the Switch. There's no reason not to. I mean, there are many reasons to do so, considering one, my Wii U doesn't work anymore. Probably the biggest reason, if there were ever one. I think we came to here from the right, so I guess we keep traveling to the left. Neva, are you here? I guess? No, I guess we have to head back to the right now. There doesn't appear to be anything else left to collect over here, so... Alright. Cool that they had so many secrets tucked away on the left path. I respect that. Like, this game studio is not afraid to use both directions to their full effect, which is just... It lives outside the realm of convention that I have been trained and gotten used to. Nonetheless, we're moving on along. Oh, hey, here's the wolf we came across before. Hello. Hello, friend. Hi. Are you friend? Are you boyfriend for Neva? Are you just friend for Neva? He has like a grayer mane around his, or that wolf has a grayer mane around their collar, so perhaps they are demonstrating gender that way? I don't know. Certainly I could see them potentially having a mate. Also notice there are a bunch of like dead lotus flowers in the background here. Seems to be, I mean, they're all over the place. Only some of them still have life to them when we interact with them though, so I wonder what's the difference. I feel like we will get some answers, but inevitably this is a game that will have a lot of player interpretation left to it. Pretty sure we've already gotten the flower over here. Yes, we have. So I guess we're just going all the way to the right, back where we started now. Chasing after that wolf. I wonder if maybe we had to go both directions, left and right, and we would have encountered the wolf on either side for the first time, like we are chasing after it now. So I bet that's what it was. We would have ended up having to backtrack either way. It feels like that's kind of the way this would have played out, given how that last section were a similar vibe. Yep, actually, here's our proof of it. We have a pillar that activates on 2 different sides. So yep, I bet that's the case. I appreciate that they try to get you to learn... How did I jump off of this? I think it was... There we go. I appreciate that they're trying to get you to learn to use Neva to interact with the environment. Probably actually meant for you to tackle that bird with the projectile Neva, but you can almost reach her with the quadruple jump. A shame it doesn't feel like they've really like used that mechanic too much aside from that one flower we found earlier, and I wonder if that was actually intended or not. But yeah, like I was saying, I would love a character that plays like this where you just have this really cool aesthetic to your attack with the wispy wolf slashes. I mean, I've always thought that sword play and sword kata just looks so fun to watch when animated well. Excuse you, hands off, Neva. Oh hey, it's our wolf friend in the background. Uh-oh. Am I gonna get to command 2 wolves now? Oh, this is super sketchy. Oh, wolf friend one-shots. I appreciate you. Are you the guardian spirit of Mamba? Is Mamba back in a incorporeal form? Oh, Thank you, friend. Are you just gone now, though? Hello. Nif is good. Nif is fine. Oh, for a second I'm like, oh, we are not replacing Neva, right? Oh, look, they are friends. Alright, lead the way. I'm gonna call you Fenrir because that's so generic. Actually, I take that back. I'm not gonna call you Fenrir. I don't know your name yet. You'll eventually have a name, I'm sure. But why don't we name you Rearfen? You know, Fenrir but stupider. Rearfen it is. Actually, I guess if we spell Fenrir backwards entirely, it's what would it be? Rearnef? Rearnef. All right, we'll call you Rearnef. I don't know, that sounds really dumb. Speaking of really dumb Kiwi, so you've seen me watching bits and pieces of Centaur World. It's a cartoon on Netflix that I can't decide if I like. I've referred to it as a glitter and rainbow colored dumpster fire, and I'm holding to that description genuinely. But there's apparently a character who's like this lavender colored alpaca looking centaur whose name is Jeffica, like my name Ika, which is just a weird because my sister's name is Jessica, so I feel like we've never somehow made that combination before, but it was weird. I always figured like if I were to ever have a female name, it would be Jen or Jennifer because it would work. I use the moniker Jeff with 3 Fs. I could use the moniker Jen with 3 Ns if I was female, you know? I swear I tried to dodge underneath that and it just failed. It's fine. I just need to make sure that I heal off of these guys where possible and not take more damage than I strictly need to. I'll have Neva hold them still. This gives me free damage, and as long as I don't go like point blank on them, I probably won't die. I hope. But I'm not easily regenerating my HP off of them, that's for sure. I do also find it interesting that they give these blockheads so many different shapes. They're not consistent in their shapes. They can take whatever form the block they're carrying. Oh, whatever the form the block they're carrying is. But this is not an easy set of enemies to heal off against because you can't rapid fire attack them. And you know what? You can't. Okay, that's the issue. I keep trying to dash through their blocks and I cannot do that. So I've got to be careful about that. Okay, 3 enemies at once. They do seem to like hold off on attacking at the same... Oops. Right, can't dash through those. They seem to separate out their attacks so they don't... I don't have to worry about dashing against all of them at once, but oh my goodness, I made the exact same mistake a second time. Whatever, I can play smarter than I am. And if I attack them while they're spawning, I should be able to like melt them fairly quickly. I just need to stop trying to dash through, and that's my main issue. Anyway, I'm trying to think, is there any other Switch 2 news that I would be excited or perhaps demoralized about, aside from what I've already talked about? Not terribly so. So I think I'll leave it at that. I can talk a little bit more about Centaur World. Why was I even... I guess that's the question. Why was I even talking about Centaur World? Oh, right, Jeffica. And then I talked about female name if I were to ever have one. I don't know. Kiwi, the topics that I have in these episodes, you can never really fully predict them, can you? All right, let's go get that flower that was down here. Can I fall? I would like to fall. There we go. It's like some of these flowers are super easy to come by and others take a lot of effort. That one was easy, just had a fight between it and I did accidentally die. I wonder if they're gonna have a death counter at the end of this playthrough. I would prefer not for my own, like, pride's sake, but pride is useless here. It's not like it's not recorded for all to see. Ooh, this is pretty. Ooh, I like this. I've always loved the aesthetic of a giant open water field reflecting the night sky. It's one of the most beautiful aesthetics, and it's why, like, I'm very drawn to portraits and things of that nature that have that sort of aesthetic, where you see again, like a night sky against the backdrop of the moon. Do we activate this? This seems to want to activate this, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm definitely missing something here. Doesn't look like I can do anything. Alright, well, maybe it gets reactivated once we pass through something on the right. Let's keep moving along. We're zooming in, so this definitely seems intended. Fortunately, I can't call Neva to ride along, but like, oh, look at those sparkles just traveling behind us. That's really cool. Very pretty aesthetic, yeah. what is going to happen next? I feel like this reminds me of something from the Pathless, which will be a game I play on here at some point. I think I've said before, but both that one game studio or Squid Games, I think it's Giant Squid Games maybe, or basically all the games from like the makers who did like Journey and Abzu and the Pathless and all of those games at some point or another I will make sure that I play on this channel. And similarly, Supergiant Games, I mean, I have been playing Hades to heck and back, and I will be doing much the same for Hades 2, I imagine. So I very much expect that I will at some point or another play all of those games. So the Pathless I already own and I've already beaten. I very much I look forward to playing that game again. Its movement is just so satisfying, because if you get a rhythm going with tagging the projectiles that boost your speed consistently, it is a really, really fun experience. All right, so I think they've established that enemies are going to spawn, and we're going to see their reflections. Oh, okay, actually, yeah, I had an idea. I was like expecting these to become the blocky enemies, but no. They're going to just be invisible platforms, which I can flub the jump on. Thankfully, this is almost like having a platforming challenge where you're upside down, because I'm using the reflection to really guide myself on this. But I like that. That's an interesting way to kind of iterate on a kind of overdone mechanic or platforming challenge, but I like it. I hope they iterate on it, because it feels like that could be a one-and-done sort of effect. Nonetheless, it's still very pretty to observe. Looks like we have to stab through here. You know, what's interesting, on this side it feels like there's this bright white light, and on the other side that we pass through it's much darker and depressing. And we have these kind of... okay, we're doing more of this reflection stuff. Okay, you know what, I really appreciate this. This is cool. So basically what I need to do is my body is physically on the left side, but the reflections are on the left to help guide me where I need to go. It is a little bit disorienting, but thankfully they've given us some very slow to attack enemies, so it's fairly forgiving. So basically, as long as I mentally invert my control scheme here, I can pretty consistently fight these things. And Kiwi, I know you'd probably see this and be like, that seems really difficult, but as it turns out, I have played a lot of games where the confusion status inverts your controls, so I'm pretty good at it. Oh my goodness. Well, we got our Lotus. Let me check the time on our let me check the timer real quick. All right, well, in typical sense, I'm about 2 minutes off, but we're coming up on time, so I'll give this one story about DFO, and then I will continue on, or I'll call it an episode rather. So DF in Dungeon Fighter, there was a equipment set. Specifically, I think it was a ring bracelet. It was for the ring, bracelet, and necklace slots, the accessory slots. And if you had this 3-set effect, it would invert it would give you a permanent confusion status. Now, DFO's kind of done away with the confusion status because it's just not fun to play with, but basically the way it worked was it would, as long as you were confused, your controls would be inverted. And this item set was so powerful that it was objectively worth doing, but since it was a 100% uptime confusion effect, all you had to do to really bypass that was just use custom controls and make it so you you just had inverted controls. It was a little annoying because you couldn't have character specific custom controls, so you would likely, if you didn't have the set on every character you played, would have to invert your controls individually each time. Is there anything up here? No. So yeah, but I got so used to running with inverted controls. Curiosity, find the hidden birds in Winter Part 1. Alright, we found all the birds, but how do I get back from here? I assume I take damage if I fall here. Yep. I don't have an obvious way to get back up, do I? Oh, you know what? Duh. It's this right here. I will say this is a little disorienting. Oh, I see. I have to go back to this one. Here we go. This is certainly a little bit disorienting, but I respect it enough to be like, yeah, this is throwing my brain off, but I'm surprisingly good at it. Like, I don't know why. Maybe it's just I have pretty good 3D spatial reasoning. It's helpful for like doing 3D Tetris to pack a fridge or a box when you're moving or that sort of thing. But this has barely like been a debilitating gameplay mechanic for me, and I bet for a lot of people it probably was. It just really messes with the brain to have to look in a different location. and play well, and like fight with mirrored images. But that's why I love the World Ends With You on the Nintendo DS a lot too, because it felt so rewarding to have that combat split between two screens. Neva, you seem to be waiting for something, so let me give you some pets and we'll call it an episode. Here you go, Neva. You earned it. You're a very good girl. Alright, Kiwi, with all that said, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and if you're awake, I hope this is helping you fall asleep. If you're sleeping, I hope you're sleeping well. In the next episode, it sounds like I'm going to be gushing about The World Ends With You a little bit, so look forward to that. Until then, sleep well, love. I'll talk to you soon.